I think we have Zoom active. That is number one. We have, I think, Facebook and YouTube. It is good. So happy Friday. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, good. My microphone has been giving me a little bit of a problem over the last couple of weeks, and I'm not sure whether it's the actual microphone or probably more likely the cable that connects it with my computer. So if for some reason the sound goes out, please let me know. Okay, so we are into the middle of January already. Who is having fun stitching something? Fun in your embroidery design, embroidery studio. Yay! I was having fun in my studio earlier. I have to say there was not as much time as I would have liked. I found myself sewing, wondered what the heck was up, and there was not actually any thread in the machine. It was like, okay, well, that would make a big difference. Okay, so we have, and I am figuring out, I've got a bunch of screens up. We have questions. I got the live stream so I can see what's happening there. And I have a couple of things that I wanted to show you based on questions that have been asked. So we are going to jump right into some questions. And I am going to start with Polly, who has a question about using silk. Polly, I saw your face just a second ago. Where did you go? There you are. I'm going to come and ask you to unmute. And I am going to spotlight you and spotlight me. There we go. Hello, how are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm fabulous, thank you. So we had met for the first time in our last Zoom call
Yep.
and answered a bunch of questions. And you have one more. How would I prep silk fabric if I wanted to use it to make the freestanding ornaments? Would I use the same stabilizer you recommend? So anytime I use silk, if I'm making it using it for a quilt project, the very first thing that I will do to make it so much easier to handle is put a lightweight fusible interfacing on the back of it. So Pellon Shape Flex works really well. Pellon, the regular Pellon lightweight, I don't remember the number on it, works really well. We used to use a lot of a product from Jenny Haskins. I think it was called Sheer Magic.
Hmm.
And I haven't honestly seen it for a long time. But the key is by putting the fusible interfacing on the back of it, it will prevent a lot of the fraying that typically happens, and it will give it a little bit more substance. Silk tends to be quite slippery to handle, which is great if you're making clothing out of it, but when you're making a quilt out of it, you don't necessarily want it to be so slippery. And the fusible interfacing, not to be confused with fusible webbing or stabilizer, but the fusible interfacing will make it a lot easier to manage. So I typically put that on the back. Silk is usually reversible. It's not really got a right side and a wrong side. So put it on one side, let's say, rather than the back, and that will make the cutting a lot easier. It should go through your cutting machine beautifully.
Okay.
Um, and really, once you got the fusible interfacing on the back of it, there's really not a lot else that you need to do. Just treat it like you would any cotton fabric.
Aw-
Um,
Okay.
with the exception of don't steam it and don't spray it with
Ah. Okay.
any water, because it will more than likely um, what's the word? Um,
Stain?
it'll kind of, yes, it'll kind of get stained.
Okay.
So typically we're not don't spray it.
Yeah.
And if you do buy silk and wash it, be aware that it is going to shrink.
Okay.
Probably quite a bit.
Okay.
So, but
Thank
for
you.
the Christmas ornaments, I think it's going to look fabulous. It will be really nice. So I'm excited to see what you come up with there.
Yeah, I'd like to give it a shot because a friend gave me some beautiful, she's a decorator and she always gives me scraps, and she gave me this beautiful good sized piece of a gold silk fabric
Ooh.
that I was like, oh my God, I could just see your ornaments. I did play around with your ornaments and I did a number of them. And I'm really having fun. I put cotton fabric on the back,
Uh-huh.
and um, and I just to get the technique down, I used a thread, what do you call it? A multicolored thread. So I didn't do any thread
Yeah,
changes. I just let it stitch out because I was more interested in the technique. And
right.
it's lovely with the multicolored thread too. So
Yeah, yeah. We call it a variegated thread.
variegated.
And
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
yeah,
So
you can get some beautiful results
yes.
and really unique results depending on the actual thread. So
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's perfect. I'm definitely going to play with that.
you are so welcome. It's so good to see you again,
Yes,
Polly.
you too.
Okay, let's see. Next up, Cindy had a question, and Cindy usually goes by Zoom user. You are here. I'm coming to ask you to unmute, Cindy.
Hi there.
Hello, how are you? Let me
Extra
pop you
good.
on the spotlight. There you go. Are you still in Arizona or did you go back home?
Oh, I'm in Ohio. I've been here since before Christmas. Yeah.
Okay.
Very
I kind
cold
of,
here. We just got 4 inches of fresh snow. So my grandson
oh
did not
my,
have school, so we have him all day.
I was actually thinking about you because I don't know if Joe is here. Joe and I are going to go to the Phoenix, what's it called? The Phoenix Quilt Craft and Sewing Show or something down at the Arizona State Fairgrounds. It's on next weekend. And I was thinking if you are still here, it would be fun to have you come along.
Oh,
And anyone else who happens to be in the Phoenix area next weekend, so January 27th is the day that we're going. Joe and I will be wandering around for at least a little bit at the state fairgrounds at the quilt show. So, and if anybody else would like to meet up with us, then drop me an email and let me know and we will figure something out. And I will more than likely put a mention in tomorrow's email as well. So now then, let's see. So you said, and a lot of people have asked the same question that you're asking. So I'm very happy that you brought this up. So when you open a new file from the library or a new design collection, the homepage displays a tally of the lessons completed on the right-hand side. And let me just show you where all these lessons are. It's a little bit, I don't think misleading is the right word, but it's a little bit confusing. And I haven't found a way to eliminate this thing from showing up. So let me share my screen. Okay, so and let me just pop that like that. Can you actually see my screen?
yes.
Okay. Now I am logged in and I'm in my library. So once you've done the login, clicking on the little avatar here, you will automatically go into your library and you'll see any of the design collections that you purchased, right? And you
Yes.
were saying specifically about the new Christmas ornaments.
Yes.
So if we click into that and you can click on the image or click on the access now, then you'll go into the main kind of page for that particular product. And this over here is where it's telling you 0 out of 6 lessons completed. Now, the lessons are anything that shows up down here. So for this particular one, we've actually got 4 in the introduction. 1 is the downloads, and 1 is the video instructions. So a total of 6. Now, if you go into the video instructions and actually watch the video, and let me see if I can put that right up to the end. Oh, okay, let's not do that. We want to play it. That's what we want to do. I don't know if you can hear the sound on this. Probably not. So it's finished playing the video, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back to the main screen, it's now telling you that 1 of 6 lessons is completed.
Yes.
It's a thing that's kind of built into our system, that when you watch a video, it announces that you've completed that lesson. It calls each one of these sections a lesson.
Okay.
Right? But like if you go into the downloads, there isn't a video there, and there's really no way of indicating that that's actually finished or complete using this terminology. So I will have Rhea do some investigating to see if we can actually get rid of that, because you're absolutely not the first person who has been confused by it. But as long as you're in the main page for your new design collection, the introduction is typically going to be the same kind of thing. There's going to be some kind of a welcome about Sarah, the copyright, and just to make sure that if you aren't getting emails, you have a way to get them and stuff like that. There's always going to be a download section, and if there are videos, then there will be a video section, and you can access everything from here, or you can start at the beginning and click on the next button for each section, and it will take you from the end of one kind of like main section right into the next one, and you can use the previous one to go back again as well.
All right. Thank you so
Okay.
much. That's exactly what I needed to know.
You are so welcome. Yeah, it's I will see if we can figure out a way of actually either removing that bit that says how many lessons you've completed, or changing the terminology or something. So anyway, thank you for asking,
Thank you.
and it's good to see you. Okay, let's see. We actually only have one more question here, and we have Jeffrey in Concord, California, watching on Facebook, and possibly also watching on YouTube. So, Christine, let me see. Christine, I'm not convinced that you are the Christine that asked the question. Hello. Did you ask a question about Simply Dreaming?
Oh, yes, on Facebook.
And the sashing?
Yeah, was it's a project I've looked at a few times and I'm really tempted to have a go. But was there some query about the smaller inside problem with fitting with the outside or something when it comes to putting it together?
No, it should be pretty straightforward. You've got as long as you can put the whole quilt flat, you want to you'll wind up with two pieces. You'll wind up with months 1 through 5 quilted and everything, and that is going to be a square.
Yeah.
And then you will wind up, so month 7 through 11 it is the border, so you'll end up with a big square with a square hole in the middle of it, right?
Yeah.
Month 6 is a border that is actually acting kind of as a sashing cover up, if you like. So as long as you can cut the center, square up the center, and then square up the hole in the middle of the border piece so that they are the correct size, you should be good to go.
Right.
And I think the key for that is to have it all on a flat surface. Now, when we did it, so it's fascinating how much we learned over the last 4 years, because Simply Dreaming came out in 2019. And I think that all things being equal, I think we're a lot more relaxed and confident about what we're doing. We being everybody in the Meaning of Life Designs community. And back then, it was the first time that we ever attempted literally a giant quilted in the hoop project.
Yeah.
But let me pop the whiteboard up on the screen, and I will see if I can draw you a picture. So can you see my big whiteboard right here?
Yeah.
So let's see, where are my whiteboard controls gone? We want to, okay, so if you have, if you have the center of the quilt as a square, right?
Okay.
And then you have the outside part, which has a hole in the middle of it. I don't know that this is, oh, maybe it is. Okay.
Yeah.
By the time you've got the inside or the center stitched into the hole here, it will be beautifully flat, right? And the seam allowance will actually be on the right side because you're sewing the center and the border wrong sides together, so that your seam allowance actually sits on the top of the quilt, right? Now, in an ideal world, and so somebody actually asked the question this more, it was a different Christine, I think, who asked in the Zoom questions, let's see, since Simply Dreaming came out, I understand that you developed an easier way to join and or do sashing for other products. Will this method work for Simply Dreaming? Now, that wasn't you, right?
No, that wasn't me.
That was a different Christine. And so what Christine is referring to is the sashing technique that I created for MEL's Practical Joy. And we have the videos actually available on our YouTube channel, and I will show you exactly where that is in just a moment. So you can. Hello.
A long day.
That's okay. You absolutely can use the I'm going to call it the MEL's practical joy technique for any project which is joining finished quilt blocks together. So projects that we've done like that would be Express Yourself with the letters. Let's see, the original Christmas ornaments collection, I think the table runner has the quilted in the hoop blocks that you could stitch together. The heart to heart baby quilt, we had a sash, we had finished quilt blocks that we sashed together there. Any of those projects, anytime you've got sashing joining quilt blocks together, you can use the new technique. Now, my first thought was it's not possible to do it for Simply Dreaming because we're not actually joining quilt blocks together. We've literally got two pieces that we're going to piece together. But as I'm talking to you, Christine, I'm actually contemplating changing my mind. Anyway,
that's what I was going to ask, whether that technique could be used for that project.
Well, let's explore this. So if you have let's see, if you're going to piece this square, let me see if I can figure out drawing these guys with colors in the middle. Okay, this hopefully will work. Okay, that's better. Okay, so we've got the two squares. We're going to put that in there. Does it have anything like alignment? Probably not. So that's kind of sort of in the middle there, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of think that it's possibly not going to be sophisticated enough. Maybe it is. Oh, there we go. That's the color. I'm like, how do we change the color on this? Maybe we don't. Okay. If this is the finished size, right?
Yeah.
Then you want to add a seam allowance around the outside of this guy. So that is more than likely going to look, or it's going to look something like that. So the darker green line is where you would be trimming, right?
Yeah.
For the hole in the middle of the border, the seam allowance actually needs to be on the inside there, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the biggest, trimming this up is pretty straightforward and easy, right? Trimming this up, if you allow a 1/2 inch seam allowance, then however big this needs to be, you're going to add 1 inch. So you've got 1/2 inch on the top, 1/2 inch on the bottom, 1/2 inch left, 1/2 inch right. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy, when you're cutting the hole, you know how big this bit is going to be. So you want to actually shrink it 1 inch on both sides, right?
Yeah.
My current wisdom, which I did not have at the time, is that as long as this is square and it's centered within, within a reasonable range, as long as the hole in this is also square and centered and 1 inch smaller than the finished size for this, you're good to go. Just simply stitch them together, and then the month 6 border sits on the top and covers that seam.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, if we eliminate the concept of a seam allowance and use the new sashing technique, then you figure out how big this is going to be and you trim it exactly to however big that is. And then the hole that you would cut in here is exactly the same size. If we could figure out how to handle the corners, you could actually use the new sashing technique to set that square piece into here. Now I say set rather than stitch because it literally, this hole is exactly the right size to accommodate this. The challenge is how you actually get around the corners.
Yeah.
Because the key is for it to still look good on the back. I'm actually wondering if it would be as simple as figuring out how, well, I mean, it's crazy to say it's going to be as simple as figuring out how to get the corners mitered once you're sewing that thing on. So that definitely will require a little sitting and thinking and cutting some fabric out and playing with it to see how that works. Having said that, the thing about the way that we do it is that from the back of the quilt, and I don't know if you saw my post, but Brenda from the Copper Needle came down the other day.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I was teaching her how to do the quilting in the hoop because she wants to teach this Simply Dreaming as a class up in Payson. And so we were actually looking at the quilt and I was showing her the construction, and from the back of the quilt, there is a very faint seam line that you can see where the join has been made between the center and the border. To some extent, using this new sashing technique, even though it might be possible, it's going to be a lot more visible on the back than the way that we're currently doing it.
Right, okay.
So let me just see. Susan just popped something in the chat. I'm going to just have a look at that. Let's see. So Susan said just bind them both and drop the center and then zigzag together with a zigzag stitch. Susan, that's not going to give you a very strong result because of the size of the quilt. Yeah, I'm not comfortable with that. It's really the corners on the hole that are the challenge point.
But
let me have
Marion
to think about
and Judith have said that they did the smaller version and it just went together fine. So
yeah, it does go together really well. We've had lots of people stitch up Simply Dreaming, the small version and the big version, and it's really not a big deal just doing it.
That's fine.
Yeah, but I will say, especially if you're doing the big version, get as much of the quilt on a flat surface as you can.
Okay.
That really is the key.
And just changing the subject slightly, the flying geese from the one behind you.
Yep, the 3D collection.
I've been using those. I've started a temperature quilt.
Uh-huh.
So I've...
Oh, I love where you're going with this. Wow, that is fabulous.
So, yeah, I've got my colours laid out. I'll just get my other piece.
So for anybody who hasn't seen a temperature quilt, it's a 365-day project where you take the temperature every day or whatever your increment is,
I've got
and
3-degree increments.
okay,
That's my heading.
beautiful. And you've even used the
I've used the
diamond and
squares.
square blocks from the corners, right?
Yeah, I did enlarge them just slightly.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so there's my range of colours.
That is going to be amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
I love this, Christine. Who
I don't
knew?
get the range of temperatures like you do.
You know what? In some ways, I think that's a really good thing, because we can have a 30 to 40 degree difference in any one day.
No, it's
And then we actually did we actually went down to freezing last week here in Phoenix. So 32 degrees. Actually, I think we were at 29 degrees at one point, and then we have the possibility going all the way up to I think 116, 117 is the maximum
no,
that
we
I've
don't
seen
get
it.
that. It was -5 overnight a couple of nights ago, and that's probably one of the lowest that it's been here for a long time. Well, you'd know that anyway, so yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the sea isn't freezing, right?
No,
At least not on the surface. I wouldn't
no,
want to run in it.
Brighton Beach still stands.
Okay, good. Because my sister has been sending me photographs from Sweden, where they are, and the Baltic Sea has actually frozen,
Oh, yeah, no, we don't
which
get that.
is like yikey crikey.
So yeah,
So Vic,
I've been messing about with this temperature quilt and sort of getting my colours organised and stuff like that. So yeah.
that's fabulous. So Vicky said, are you using high and low temperatures for the day? Just the high or just
No,
the low, or
the centre of the flying geese represents what the temperature is where I am at midday.
okay.
The wings of the flying geese, I've got 4 colours. White for snow. This is the stitching, not the fabric, the stitching.
Okay.
White for snow, yellow for sun, grey for cloud, and dark grey for rain.
Wow.
Because
So you're literally paying attention every single day of the year.
yeah. So I don't think you can see this the stitching. You can see it quite well in daylight. That one's the dark grey.
I see that. Yeah, I see you've got, so number 3 in from the right hand side looks like it was yellow for a sunshiny day,
Yeah.
followed
There
by
is
another
one
dark
day
day.
of snow. Yeah.
Wow. Now, how are you going to arrange everything when you're done?
Well, this is my design.
And Polly says, is the entire quilt made of the flying geese?
Yeah, I've worked out the sizing and everything. I am going to put just between each month because I've got the month.
Okay. Beautiful.
So you'll have the month and then the flying geese and then the next month and the flying geese. So it's almost like a chart.
Right.
In between each month, I will just put an inch probably of a neutral colour. Yeah, and I've worked out the sizings roughly.
Now you are quilting in the hoop whilst you're going along, right?
Yeah, I'm doing
So
6 days at a time
okay,
because
perfect.
the flying geese are in batches of 6, so I'm doing 6 at a time.
Right. So given that you are quilting this in the hoop and you're going to end up with lots of strips, this is where you could use the new sashing technique to
Yeah.
join them together and
Yeah,
have
that's
that
what I
be
thought.
you could have that be the color that's showing up in
Yeah.
between the rows.
Yeah. I've used a mesh stabilizer.
Okay.
I did use the clean and tear, but I thought it felt quite stiff.
Uh-huh.
So I have used a mesh, which is a little bit softer.
Okay. The thing with the ultra clean and tear is that if you were to wash the quilt, that will eventually disintegrate.
Right.
But if you're not going to wash it yet, then the mesh could be a little softer
Yeah. Yeah.
on it. Yeah. So there's Polly has lots of questions. So yes, the entire quilt's made up of flying geese with the lettering, and then you've got the color code in the diamond and the square blocks from
Yeah.
the 3D collection. Polly says, how did you come up with your choice of lettering? Because it's awesome. Now, is
While
that
I'm
something that
driving
you
around,
created?
I did. It
Is this
alleviates the
something
boredom.
were you using the alphabets on your machine, or did you create them in the software?
No, I bought them. I think I got them from Etsy or something.
Okay.
Just the applique.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted the title for the 2024.
Right. And for each of the months.
Yeah, it's the same design.
Okay.
It's
Awesome.
In the applique, I used the Aurifil, but I quite like the white. I don't know if you can see the white
Yeah.
inside the lettering.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Fabulous. Now, Joe says that she said, speaking for everybody, we would all enjoy progress photos.
I'll post them on Facebook.
That would be awesome. Yeah, maybe give us a monthly shot at how it's coming along. This is brilliant. Vicky said it's a fascinating way to do a temperature quilt. I've been thinking about one for several years now, and we can range from about -15 degrees to about 108.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big range, right? So when you figured your range, so you said you have 3 degrees per color,
Yeah.
and how many colors do you have?
12.
Okay, so you're going with a 36-degree
I've got
high and low.
the lowest color is 0 degrees and under.
Okay.
And then it's all 3-degree increments up to 31 and over.
Okay.
So
And in
that
Brighton,
keeps it.
31 degrees is, and you're talking Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just in case anybody's wondering.
It just 12 is quite a good color range. To have everything fit in as well.
Yes. Yes.
And I've had this fabric for quite a while. So it's fossil fern.
Okay. Is that a Benetex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I'm excited for this coming along. And yeah, Joe, thank you for saying we would definitely all love to see some progress photos.
right,
And
okay.
never in a million years would I have thought of these flying geese showing up in a temperature quilt, but it's almost like now I want to make one.
Well, you've got the designs.
I know. So maybe we will have to pop together, if it's okay with you, maybe a blog post or something, just outlining the idea and how you might do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did do, when I started it a couple of weeks ago, oh, where's the flying geese? The wings of the flying geese, I used colour fabrics to
Uh-huh.
designate what the type of weather was, but I didn't like that. It was
Okay.
too muddly. It wasn't it sort of clean and straightforward. It just looked messy and confusing. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, I shelved that idea and just used the stitching for that.
I think that's brilliant. I think this is going to look really beautiful because from a distance, you're not going to see the stitching on the white. You'll have a really cohesive, vibrant color
Yeah,
scale going on with all of the colors. But as you come in closer and see the detail with the thread on the white, I think
yeah.
that is going to be really
In
awesome.
the
Yeah.
daylight, you can see a slight change of colour because my backing fabric is a sort of creamy, it's what they call pastel almonds. It's
Okay.
slightly creamy, it's got a little bit of pink in a little bit, and it seems to react to the colour of thread that you're using as well, which is pretty good.
I am so glad you said that. It's fascinating how fabric and thread can change colors in
Yeah,
front of you when you put different
yeah,
combinations together.
yeah,
I frequently find that, with the Arfil thread, I have probably 4 different shades of what you might call ivory. And when they're in the thread drawer, they all look pretty much exactly the same. But when you get them all out and you put them down on a piece of fabric that's also sort of ivory,
yeah,
all of a sudden you see the really
yeah.
different colors that you've got.
Yeah, yeah. This background fabric, this pastel almonds is good. It's got odd little dots of blue in it every here and there, and yeah.
This is fabulous. I am so excited for this quilt, Christine. Okay, let's see. Vicky has another question. Sarah, do I have a log cabin? Not an in the hoop, I'm assuming that you mean an in the hoop log cabin. No, I do not. Or do I? Um, I thought about it many, many, many times, creating an in the hoop log cabin. Um, if we do have one, I'm not convinced that it's a published thing. Let me think about that and get back to you all. Well, thank you, Christine. I'm glad the other Christine asked question, which led me to you. And
Okay,
yeah, remember to give us a monthly update on your temperature quilt.
okay.
I'm really excited
I
for
will.
this. Thank you. Okay. My niece Agnes in Sweden has actually been knitting a temperature blanket. I think she has a row or maybe 2 rows for each day, and she also has picked out a number of different colors for her temperatures. I haven't seen that. I can't remember whether she did it 2022 or 2023. I need to ask her about that and see where she's at with her temperature blanket. Okay. Barbara, you have your hand raised. I am coming to see you. Here we go. I'm to ask you to unmute there.
Okay, did I unmute?
Go. Yes,
Okay.
you did. Hello, how are you?
I am fine. And I was just going to add that I am in the process of putting my Simply Dreaming quilt together, the
Okay.
outer border with the center border. And I followed the instructions to a T that you gave, and it fits together perfectly. There's really no need to worry about it.
Yay, that is so good to know.
So
Thank you for sharing that.
I'm putting the fourth corner together today, and it's working very well.
Awesome. Be
So
sure to send us a picture when you're done.
well, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Um, now then, if you saw Cass right now, she is in the office in the room back here. And so I took it into my mind over the Christmas holidays. We had some downtime with the stitching, and it's like, okay, what can Cass be working on? And what we came up with was, let's just bring all of our SVG files across all of our design collections up to date. We started putting the 12-inch square around our SVG files so that you can guarantee that all of your shapes are the right size. I think with Sunshine Cove in 2020, and it's been such a big help. Cricut used to, although they seem to be better now, used to bring SVG files in at completely random sizes. And when you have the Brother Scan and Cut, if anything is bigger than 11.5 inches, then it will automatically resize that when you bring it into the Canvas Workspace software. And so I figured, okay, let's go through all of the design collections and make sure, number one, that we've got SVG files. Some of the old collections did not have, and let's get them all updated. So Cass has been busy working on that. And Sunshine, not Sunshine Cove, Simply Dreaming actually did not have 12-inch squares around. So we updated that. And then we started looking at the instructions. And it seems like a whole bunch of people have been working on Simply Dreaming recently and had questions. And we figured, you know what, we are just going to go right into Simply Dreaming and utilize our new format for writing instructions for Simply Dreaming to make it a little bit easier and more consistent. So Cass is currently doing some updating to all of the instructions for Simply Dreaming, and it's going to be fabulous when she is finished. Okay, Sharon, I see your hand up. Coming to ask you to unmute here.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, I wanted to show you my my wreath. Okay.
Oh, wow. That is beautiful. That I love.
I'm not
Yes.
doing it as a wreath because I want to put it on my table.
Uh-huh.
You know, I on point. You know, like on point on a round table.
Okay. Now, did you quilt?
I
Obviously
quilted
you quilted the corners and
I'm working on
borders.
this right now. And then
So
I did
this
the
is
corners.
how
I
you,
did the corners with cross hatching.
uh-huh.
Okay. I don't know if you could see
Yep.
it.
I see that.
Okay. And then I'm going to do free motion feathers on the border.
This is fabulous. So a circular piece made into a square. Now, did you use the borders from the butterfly?
Yes. And I just
thought
kind of
so.
guessed, you know, and I ended up cutting this first and I shouldn't have, but it worked out. It worked out. Okay.
It's fabulous. I love this. And I love your color. I love the gold.
It's the
And
gold
the
fairy
background.
frost.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if you have a color card.
Is it literally called gold?
It's
Or
called on the fairy frost card.
I think is that a new one?
No.
I need to go look at that.
And then I used Maywood shadow play
Uh-huh.
for the other for the red and the green. And then I had another red.
It's beautiful.
And I'm also working on, I am starting to quilt the heather feather, but
Oh,
so this one I'm doing
yay.
first because I had started it already, but I stopped to do this one because I know I can get this one done quicker.
Uh-huh.
So
Well, this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You guys are doing such amazing work here. Just taking things and making it your own. I love this. I think it's absolutely fabulous. So Thank you very much for sharing, Sharon. And I
Thank
am
you.
excited to see the I am excited to see the heather feather finished.
Oh, it's gonna be a while. It's really slow going around, all the motifs, first before I could even free motion.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, I started it and it's sitting over here on my table. But I'm going to finish this one up first, and then I'll go back.
Okay. Well,
So-
I'm excited to see the finished picture, finished photo. So thank you so much. Okay, let's see. Judy, coming to ask you to unmute here. Did that actually click? There you go.
My
Hey,
internet
how's it going?
connection. I'm with you because my internet connection at my daughter's very strong. But
Okay.
yeah, I that's wrote the question down. So I brought just about all the squares, block 3 and block 8 with me to my daughter's. I only have 2 more left to quilt here, so I'm just working like a busy beaver. But
Awesome.
yeah, I left block 3 because I looked at it. I had it hanging up on my closet. Like, oh my gosh, the flower on the right top part of this is missing. I'm like, what? Break all my notes, huh?
Which
Block
hoop
3.
are you working in, Judy?
Which hoop am I working in?
Which hoop size? Which size of the designs are you using?
What size? Oh, 200 by 300, I believe.
Okay, I do think, and Marilyn says yes, she thinks there is a correction. There was definitely an update for the block 3 designs with the 200 by 300 hoop. Now, have you stitched out the whole thing?
The whole thing is stitched and pasted and everything. I'm like, oh no.
Oh gosh, send me a photo of the finished thing and highlight the bit that's missing. And I will figure out how to get it in there for you.
Oh, thank the Lord. I really appreciate that. I won't be home until like February 13th. So get home, I will do that.
Okay.
So, because I left it, I left it home, left 3 and a reason. I don't know why, but it's just all of the quilting is just stitching. I'm so happy. Yeah, I'm using my call it hoop, my oh my goodness. The what do you call it? You know, that's
the
the
magnetic
snap
hoop?
hoop. Yeah, and that's working good. You have to use the 200 hoop once in a while. Being quilted with it's so I did it shipped when I flew out. I told them, I said I have a metal in the my oh, that's no big deal. So they didn't even open the suitcase, sent it through, the imaging. And I called my shop in Green Bay. You order me another magnetic. I'm gonna keep because it's like so yeah, I'm so excited about it.
Good.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask, did we are there I was gonna ask Marilyn what that sashing, and you did the Marilyn said she was gonna do that zigzag. What size, Marilyn, if remember, what size did you use that? There's a not what the heck is the name of that? It's like a long
serpentine stitch.
What is it called?
Hey Judy,
Yeah.
can I turn your video off? Because I think if we do that, it will help with the internet cutting out here. Because we're losing you a little bit.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so Marilyn used the serpentine stitch when she was stitching her practical joy sashing together.
Yes.
right? And you're wanting the stitch sizes that she used? Marilyn, I'm going to come and ask you to unmute.
'Cause I
Okay,
am
now
gonna
she
try
popped in
to
the chat.
stitch. Yeah, I'm gonna try to stitch some of the, I've got it up here already on my
Yeah.
750 stitch. Okay, so I wonder what it would be on the, big block.
It's
Number 4.
so Marilyn and I actually, I think we figured out it was the exact same stitch on my 8 series machine. So I think it's always going to be a stitch number 4 set at 3 millimeters
Okay.
wide, 1 millimeter long. The interesting thing about this stitch is that it doesn't look like a curly, like a wavy line. It looks fairly angular on the screen. But when you actually stitch it out, it does stitch more as a gentle wave.
Okay.
So I think you'll be good with stitch number 4, and then the 3 millimeters wide and 1 millimeter long. And yet Marilyn said it looks like a zigzag, but when you actually stitch it out, it does actually stitch like a nice wave.
Oh, nice. So that'll be strong enough to keep together then.
Yes. Yeah. The key
Perfect.
is to make sure that you have half of the stitches falling on the one side of the center line and half on the other side.
Okay.
So yeah, it does work. And I actually did a
Some
little
of them
test out
together
of it
here.
too.
Yeah, perfect.
And then
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Marilyn says use the number 10 edge foot, edge stitch foot, and then that will have the little bar will sit right in the middle of the 2 bound edges, and that will give you a nice straight stitch down the center of the sashing.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate.
You are welcome. And yeah, if you as soon as you can shoot me a photograph of your block 3, and we'll figure out how to get that little flower back on there.
Okay, super. Yeah, because the flower is just hanging in the air there, so I do need to do something.
We'll fix it.
Okay.
Okay. Have fun
Thank you.
where you are. We'll talk to you again soon, Judy. Okay. Let's see. I did that the wrong way around. There we go. Okay. Wow, that hour went past so fast. It is a couple of minutes before 2 o'clock already. We have Lynette also has been watching on Facebook. And the comment, most if not all quilts on Meaning of Life designs done in the hoop. Yes, they are. So we specialize in machine embroidered applique, and we've been doing that for 14 and a half years. Can you believe it? 2009. Middle of 2009, we've been doing the machine embroidered applique, and we've kind of added little bits of quilting in the hoop in here and there. And in 2019, well, not 2019 with Simply Dreaming, when we did the butterfly back in, I think that was 2017, I think, when we finally figured out quilting the entire finished quilt in the hoop as you would a regular quilt. So finished quilt top with some batting and backing. I think the butterfly was the first quilt that we really did the entire quilt sandwich in the hoop. And then Simply Dreaming came along in 2019, and we figured, we are going to take a queen size quilt and show you that it is entirely possible to do the entire thing in the hoop, and it is going to be as soft and drapey as an applique quilt can be, as if you had done free motion quilting on it. So we have no stabilizer in between the non-applique parts of your quilt, the batting and the back. We literally quilt the entire or we hoop the entire quilt sandwich, and the back looks just as nice as the front. So let's see. Joe says, correction, I'm going to the quilt festival on the 25th. Let me just make sure that I actually have got that on my calendar correctly. It's next Thursday. Yes, it is the 25th. So if you are going to be in Phoenix on January 25th, Thursday of next week, let me know and we can figure out how to have an in-person MELS get together somewhere at the Phoenix County Fairgrounds, or maybe it's the Arizona County Fairgrounds. Anyway, it's the place that's like way out in that direction. Joe and I will be wandering around and it will be fabulous to see you. Okay, I am going to take one look at you guys all on Wendy. You're coming, right? Wendy and Judy, yay! Send me an email, and we will make sure that we know where to meet so that we don't kind of bypass each other and not see each other. Okay, let's see. So we are the third Thursday. Let's see. No, we're not on a Thursday. We're right. Today is the third Friday of January. So we will be back on the first Friday of February. I really like this organized thing that we've got going on so that you guys and I know we're always going to be the first Friday and the third Friday here in the Meaningful Life Designs Zoom room. So I will see you guys in a